This week on Rockstar Superhero. Man, I've really enjoyed doing my show over the last 5 years because I've met so many incredible people. I've chatted with amazing bands and influential creatives who breathe life into the art form. A good buddy of mine knew perpetually upcoming music producer Chris Collier and made the introduction for me. Now, why do I say perpetually upcoming? Because Chris is always upping his game. He's at the top, seemingly, for now, but there's always another artistic mountain to climb. Most of us will keep watching from afar, wondering how he's done it. If you actually listen to the entire show, you'll know the secret, which in many ways hasn't ever been a secret, but simply a way of being. I highly suggest we all try to be a little more like Chris Collier and love what we do with an unrivaled zeal. This is my conversation with the man whose only limit seems to be where the oxygen stops. This is mega producer Chris Collier on the Rockstar Superhero Podcast.
Settle down. Yesterday's behind me, the rest is
Good gravy. It's Chris Collier, man. How are you, brother?
I'm excellent, man. It's been crazy lately. Super crazy.
I've watched you from afar. I can tell you're burning the candle on 12 ends.
Yes. 13 if you count today.
Well, let's see. First of all, I got to thank you because this is such a cool thing. I rarely get to talk to very, very cool people. I get to talk to a lot of famous people, but not necessarily cool people. And you may not think this of yourself, but when you connected with me on the email, I could tell there was just something about you. It was almost like how you wrote things. And I was like, man, this guy isn't just like a record producer extraordinaire, but he's a cool badass. He's a nice guy, Eddie. You know what I mean? You were a dude, and I felt like we connected before this moment. And I'm so excited that you're here. I just knew you were the cat's meow. So thanks, brother.
Of course. I appreciate that, man. I mean, I guess I had a good upbringing. I just, I was just taught to respect people and be nice and be cool. And, there's so much crap going on in the world. It's like, you know what? We got to be cool, man. We got to be good to each other, and we don't know how long it's gonna last. So this life is short, man. We gotta. Yeah. There's no time to be angry. There's no time to be disrespectful. It's all about being respectful.
So I almost want to stop the interview right now and just say, "Can I have a job?" Because I love people like you, and you're so rare. And I know people say this all the time, and I probably say it all the time too, which is I don't want to blow smoke up your tailpipe, right? But I want to be around good, kind, loving people. And, the internet and all the things are around us. Everything is so fired up. Everything is so lit on fire, right? It's like everybody's got a match underneath their foot and they're pissed off and they want to let you know why they're pissed off. And the moment you sort of inoculate them with a little bit of love and kindness, all that stuff just melts away so fast. And I love what you said. So thank you.
Yeah, man. I mean, if I'm to divulge on that a little bit, I mean, I call them keyboard warriors, man. Like they just like to inject their opinions from afar. It's kind of like when you're playing video games, you get your headset on. I mean, years ago, right. I'm a gamer, so I know how it works. Yeah. Like a lot of Call of Duty, you get a lot of shit talkers, you get a lot of people that just, because you're never going to find them, or now people know how to find your IP address and all this stuff, whatever. But it's like, and years ago when Facebook first came out, it was like, yeah, it's kind of like a place I can spew my opinion without getting too ridiculed for it or whatever. But it's like, and I'm a victim of that.
Of course.
Everyone's done it. But I knew when to shut it off. It was like, okay. So, like I said, it's just so much, that negativity is not worth it. And let them be miserable. Say what you want, man. I don't really comment a lot on stuff I disagree with. I just scroll past it. Yeah. I don't care. You think whatever you want. I'm here to make music, and whatever you're talking about has nothing to do with what I'm doing. So good luck to you. And there you go, you know.
God bless. Have a nice time.
That's right. Have a good time in your karma.
Yeah. I don't understand it, but I've been guilty of it as well. And yeah, like lately, especially with the stuff that's going on in Texas, the internet is on fire, right? And it's so easy, especially with family and friends. You almost feel like you have to, I don't want to say defend your position, but you almost feel like you have to inject because they are family and friends. And then every time you start, you realize, oh, this is a really, really bad idea.
Oh man. If I'm to tell you any experience, it's with family. I mean, my stepmother's side of the family, they're kind of on one side and we're on another. So throughout the years, we're just kind of like, you know what? Let's not talk about this. We're family. Yeah. It's just going to spark an argument. Our opinions we aren't going to change each other's minds. We just know what we got in our mind, in our head, and what we know. Yeah. And then that's it, you know. Yeah. And like I said, like I don't really want to talk to someone about that. I want to talk about music.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's what I want to talk about, man. So let me throw this at you right now.
Yes.
Hang on to your hats, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to name off some of Chris's working relationships, including production, all the way down to instrumentalist. It's not a comprehensive list, but it's something to start with, and it's pretty seriously badass. So I'll start here. Whitesnake, Korn, Mick Mars, Stillwell, wow, Prong, KXM, which is Doug Pinnick's thing, which I freaking love. I think you worked with PDP, the California prog punk metal guys, which is totally badass. Fear Factory, Lynch Mob, Lita Ford, Flotsam and Jetsam, Warrant, Headpie, Metal Church, good gravy, my friend. And I mean, I'm sure that's just a snapshot, but that's one hell of a roster.
I appreciate that. Yeah, that's a lot of variety in that list there. It's crazy to hear it back all on a streamline like that. You don't really figure that out as you're going along. You're just going from project to project, but then you see the list and you're like, wow, all right, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's a lot of sexy. It's a very intriguing list because it's so diverse. And even though it has to be all rock, if you will, rock based or metal based. Yeah, of course. But still, I mean, okay, you don't have the Carpenters in there and you don't have Pink Floyd in there, but you know what I mean? You have such a rad thing going on. It's just, God, I'm sorry I'm fawning so much, but it's just such a cool freaking list. And I had to read that off because I did not memorize it. So there you go.
Well, thanks, because I have my own list here in case I had to go through it, but we're taking care of, man.
Enough promo for the day, man. So let's talk about stupid stuff now.
Cool. Sick.
One other thing I want to get to before we get to why you're successful. When we connected, I saw that you have management, and I was wondering, I actually looked it up online because I come from the music business myself. I was a 25-year industry veteran, session drummer. That was my thing. Never got famous. It is what it is. But the one thing I never thought of is that a producer would have management. And I was wondering if that was a byproduct of being too busy, or there's another avenue of the business that maybe I don't know or don't know about you.
If
you're open to sharing.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. A good buddy of mine named Lucas Joyner, he's my guy right now. Yeah. And he has a label called Art is War Records. I believe they're partnering up with something going on right now that's kind of putting something together to partnership or something like. But I've known him for 20 plus years. We played in bands, like he had a band, I had a band. We played on Sunset Strip, and we had friends that were mutual, that were in each other's bands, and we all knew each other. And it was kind of like back in the day, back in the early 2000s, that sort of time. So we got to know each other then. Lucas back then was making moves. Like, back then when you're like kind of young, you're like, yeah, right. He's not really working with those guys.
Sure.
But, and there's a lot of those people. This guy was legit. Like, totally like I'm hearing it from the horse's mouth. He's like, yeah, dude, I've got this guy, I've got that guy. We're going to the studio with this guy. We're working with that. I'm like, wow, he's making moves. He's making connections.
Wow.
So fast forward to now, like probably about 2 years ago or so, or maybe a year and a half ago, 2 years. I forget, but he hits me up randomly and is like, hey, I want to help you out. You're a homie. Really, I see you doing big things. I just want to help you out. If you're ever in like on the struggle bus and you're trying to get going, you know, I would love to help you out. So that's exactly what he's done. Like I've got merch, I've got all this other stuff, like all of a sudden out of nowhere. And he's brought me a couple of great artists, actually a little more than that. Brought me this great producer named Brandon Friesen. I mean, he's really like just put forward, and you know, it's kind of a buddy thing. It's really cool how it works out. It's like I was doing okay on my own, but sometimes you need somebody when stuff
all the time.
Yeah, I mean, you need somebody when stuff's getting low, stuff's getting okay. I'm getting in a drought. I need some help, and he comes through. He's right there, and I love him for it. And he's just he's there in the wings if I need him. And you'd be surprised. A lot of people doing the caliber of artists that I'm working with. A lot of those people have legit, like straight up management. They take their cut. They do their thing. Funny subject. I talked to Nick Raskulinix about this, and he's got a guy that he works with, and he's like, yeah, all the big dudes usually have somebody because they never want to talk money with the artist. They never want to talk about this. They don't want to talk about logistics or business stuff. When they get with the artist, they want to talk about the music. They don't want to worry about the money. They don't want to worry about the budget. They just want to worry about the music. So I'm still like, as of right now, I still get my own work. I still do my own thing. Lucas comes in, you know, on the side and says, hey, I got this for you. I got this guy for you. Check this guy out. I got this thing set up for you. I'm like, wow. I'm just like, cool.
Incredible.
Just added on top of the list of everything I've been doing, you know, on my own and gotten on my own and word of mouth and the resume and whatnot. So yeah, I think it's super important for people that get overwhelmed with stuff to eventually go that route, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, the world today, I think the kids today don't know what guys like my age, I have no idea how old you are, Chris, and I don't necessarily want to ask, but when you're younger, what did you just say? Are you seriously? Yeah. Really? Okay. I'm gonna make the people watch the video. They don't get to listen to what the answer is.
I'll be this month.
Really? Congratulations. My birthday's September 30th. When's yours?
Wow, the 23rd.
See, we're holiday babies, man.
Dude, I'm a cusp. I'm a Libra or a Virgo. So
well, I'll give you the Libra because you seem very balanced.
And Coverdale's birthday is the day before mine.
Oh, that's rad.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, you know, you used the term struggle bus a second ago.
Yeah.
And I've actually never heard that until now. I've never heard that term in my life. And, and I know maybe I'm really disconnected. I have no idea. Maybe I'm so narcissistic. I have no idea. But I love that term. And it's so true. We need advocates. And I'm hoping that this podcast, this interview is wildly successful because, you know, music people on the cusp, people who are reaching out to try to be something in this business, people who want to have a legacy, they rarely understand business and they rarely have, you know, some form of advocacy in the business. It's all about, oh, wow, you're a product, right? You're a commodity. You know, everybody comes in, you know, your management and your promo and everybody's sort of pseudo supporting you, but it's because they see you as a product. They get a piece of your business. They're not necessarily there to not only give you a leg up, but maybe shoot you over the fence. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I love what he's done for you because you're correct. You probably could have done just fine. And I mean, you are doing just fine, but having somebody believing you to that point has always been something, to be honest, without making this about me, I've always thought, you know, I've always looked for somebody who was really looking out for me. And your words are a great reminder that we should be looking to see who's on the fringes of our life, who loves us, admires us, appreciates us. And we should probably ask, do you know anybody? You know what I mean?
Yep. 100%. I mean, like the things that have happened in my life, the people that have come in my life, they're there for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe things happen for a reason.
Absolutely.
And, I think the key to that is is putting it out into the universe, but not necessarily telling somebody, hey, you got to come to my corner. You just got to put it out there and, let your work speak for yourself. And then the people will come. The people will follow, and they'll listen, and they'll appreciate what you do. And some may even give you an opportunity because of it.
Sure.
I've never been one to go in and in the past, I used to try to advertise and put flyers up. Hey, I'm doing a 3-song demo for $150 or whatever, come. That never, no. It's like, okay, you know what? I got to let my work speak. I got to find another way. It's just, and then I've had, I didn't get here by myself. I'll tell you that right now. It was the result of meeting the right people at the right time.
Mm-hmm.
And like you, I struggled when I played in bands. I'm a drummer first.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's why you're cool.
maybe that's why we're like, hey, man.
Simpatico, baby.
That's right. I mean, so like I played in plenty of bands. I tried to make it. I tried to do it. I've had opportunities. I've had auditions. I didn't make auditions. I didn't make bands. I did a couple things on the road, and I figured out early that, you know what, tour life's not for me. I'm really not hitting it with any of these artists, and I'm not really enjoying myself doing this. So I understand like that part of it, but a lot of those people along the way helped me make the decisions that I did. Yeah. And then for instance, I have George Lynch. Yeah. It's a long story, but I have George Lynch to thank for an immense amount of things.
Wow. Really? George of all people.
If I told you the trail in which it left, mm-hmm. you pretty much are looking at it.
Wow.
Even though he would tell you he's not direct. No, that's all you. You did your thing. I was like, I understand that. But the trail you left for me, and then I latched onto, it speaks for itself. And then I'm here. I'm able to provide. I'm able to take care of myself. I'm able to do this for a living, and make it happen. And George is a big part of that. So, it's the type of people you meet, the right people, the right time. It's all about that timing.
Yeah.
It's like with a band, it's just like playing in a band, being on tour, the right time, right place, right time, right music, right message, all gets across, and then the band becomes famous.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I'm famous popular. I'm just saying like you just meet the right people that gets you there.
Yeah.
That's so vital.
Yeah. Well, what I said a second ago is true, and I'll repeat it one more time. I mean, I've definitely figured out why you're successful just in the last 5 minutes, right? You're part of so many influential moments in music because you're passionate, you're genuinely talented, and again, super, super nice, but you were prepared for the moment when George showed up, whether it's ultimately byproducts of that relationship, you were ready to step into quote unquote, the big time. Right. Yeah. And here you are, and it's amazing. I mean, it's amazing. So, I mean, the only thing that's due to you is congratulations. And I hope you keep going. And I hope this spurs other bands to want to connect with you because you're doing something special.
I appreciate that. Thank you. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you're welcome. Well, so then my first question for you is, you're in a really cool position, as a producer, I think anyway, because you get to know the person versus the artist, or especially the celebrity. You know what I mean? You get to know the human being. So if I may, what is your take on that sort of general statement? And who was the biggest surprise for you regarding expectation versus reality?
Wow. Let's see. Well,
if you could talk about it.
I can't. No, it's all good. It's all good.
Okay. Okay.
We're all humans. We're all the same makeup anyway. So it's like, they're human too. Yeah. That's how I approached it. Like, for instance, when I met Doug Pinnick for the first time, I was a huge King's X fan.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like that album, Dog Man, just completely is like on the top 5.
Yes.
For me. Not only with songs, but with sonics.
Oh, the production is incredible.
Everything. And my dad has a lot to do with that too, because he's like, man, listen to this guy's vocals. And I'm a kid going, yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah.
And, when I met him for the first time, this is like my foray into meeting a lot of those. Like George was like, I mean, a bunch along the way, but working with and meeting. So I told Doug for the first time, I go, Doug, I'm just going to get this out of the way. I'm a huge fan, and it's an honor to work with you.
Yeah.
And with that said, let's get to work.
That's
that was
so
just
awesome.
my attitude. It's always been my attitude. I don't know if I've ever been starstruck before. I can't explain why. It's really hard. But working with those, like working with George is great. He's quirky personality, great sense of humor. The biggest surprise, I can't really pinpoint a surprise. Like Ray Luzier from Korn, the most down-to-earth musician ever.
Seems like it.
And he's become one of my great friends. Like just an amazing human being from the farms in Pennsylvania, man. And he's still got it in him.
Yeah.
Like he'll never. It's like those are the type of people that do what they do at that level. That are still able to come down from that and be that humble and just love and appreciate everything they do. That's what does it for me. And it's really great to meet those types of people. Now, funny enough, it's not the artist. If I'm going to say anybody surprised, I don't want to mention anybody's name.
Sure, of course.
But it was a producer. A producer was more of a rock star than the rock stars themselves. I've run into that. And that's kind of shocking because you think that.
I think I know who it is.
Well, maybe.
I'm not going to name the name, but I think my brain tells me I think I know. I'm sure I'm wrong. I'll shut up now. Please keep going.
Well, there's probably many producers like that, but in my experience, it was just like it was more of that end of things. It was the artists always tend to be just like when you get them to that level, like you're saying on a personal level, they're just human beings looking for like just a cool hang. That's the other important thing about the caliber of artists at that level, like say the Korns, the Whitesnakes, the Mick Mars. At that level, you just have to be yourself, man. You can't fanboy. You can tell them, hey, I love your stuff, but you do it in kind of a nonchalant way. But those guys, like the ones I just mentioned, like Coverdale, all that, they're the coolest guys. And that's all they're looking for. They're looking for like, just a good hang. Yeah. You have to be cool. You have to just, you can't ask for a lot of stuff. You just got to be, really down to earth and just be yourself and be a cool hang. I think that was a big part of hanging out. One thing I did learn. I will give you one more thing regarding that, though.
Okay.
I did have an opportunity to play drums with Lynch Mob in 2012.
Oh my God, dude.
Yeah, so I got the opportunity to jam alongside of George Lynch, Robbie Crane, and Oni Logan. And from about May to September 2012. Did a bunch of flyaway gigs. One of the things I did learn is that although you want to greet all your fans, not all your fans are going to be as cool as most of your fans.
Yeah.
Some of those fans, after a show, I would go out and I'd greet everybody, hey, you're the drummer. I'm like, yeah, just, playing, having a good time. He's like, when's George going to be out? He's like, yeah, he's supposed to come out and send us some autographs. And some people are like, they're like clamoring to like, they're fanatics. God bless them. Yeah. But I got to learn why George sometimes decides not to come and greet fans. He decides to. It's not just him. It's a lot. It has a lot to do with other artists as well. There's a line, like with Ray, for instance. Ray is amazing dude. But he knows when to draw that line. Yeah. Between fan and okay, give me my space. Yeah. Some fans don't give you your space, and they want every inch of your time, which is amazing. That's what the artist does for them. They want them to be that way because they want them to buy the records, buy their merch, that's the reason why they live is because those people buy their records, buy their merch, and support them.
Yeah, we want to be loved, man.
Yeah, but I mean, that's nothing crazy, really. It's just, it's the things I've learned in dealing with the profile of artists that I worked with. It's just be cool, be a good hang, and be yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, I have a funny little story I can actually share about that real quick. The word fan, of course, is short for fanatic, right? We forget that part. But years ago, I was at a Styx show over in the Gorge, and I was waiting to use a porta potty. And there's like 25 porta potties, right? And then finally one opens up. I go running up, and Neil Peart comes out of the porta potty, and I just stare at him and watch him walk by. And I realized two things. One, Neil hates being confronted by fans. He did. And two, I thought, you know what? Even for my brief period of time in the music business, as much as I enjoyed, stepping off stage and having somebody say, wow, I loved what you guys did, blah, 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 blah. It's obviously flattering. It's kind of a turn on, all those little things. I knew Neil didn't need that from me. And I just wanted to give him his space. I mean, he's there to ride his bike, man, and to see his friends on tour. He wasn't there to hang out with Rob, Yeah. And most people do forget that. So I appreciate you saying that. Yeah.
I watched all those Rush documentaries, and you've seen the last one they did. I forget what it was called, but you just see him running to the bus, running after every show.
I got to get out of here.
And then the very last farewell show, he finally comes out and greets the fans. He's like, that's not my territory. I don't go there. That's why I never went there. But I finally decided, this is it.
Yeah.
That's just him. And you have to respect that, especially when, even if they just say, hi, thank you, appreciate it, and they move on to the next, you can't be offended by that.
Yeah.
They have to deal with hundreds of people, like meet and greets or whatever, they have to deal with all that. So that's really cool. You did that. You let him go. I would have maybe said something like, love you, Neil. Take care.
Yeah. I didn't want to draw any attention to him. I had, I've done that before with other artists. I met Terry Bozzio a number of years back. Oh, wow. And I waited for him to come out of the bathroom. It was that crazy. You know what I mean? And then when he did, he was really short. I was blown away by how short he was. And I just walked up and I said, hey, thank you so much, blah, 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 blah. And then he grabbed my hand with both hands and he said, thank you so much for being a fan. Thank you so much for loving what we do. And I was so blown away by those two moments of graciousness. The way he spoke to me, I was like, okay, I'm done. Like I didn't need any more from him. But that was a lucky moment for me, right?
Yeah, you caught him at the right time, and I hope he washed his hands.
If he didn't, I probably licked him afterwards or something. Yeah. Look, there's something about us drummers, man. And I think this is why you and I can connect so deeply right off the bat. Yeah, right? It's about the position of being a drummer, right? Literally on stage or in a rehearsal space, and it builds a set of ears. Right. And we're sitting in the back, we're listening to everything. We are acutely aware of who's doing what, who's a quarter tone sharp or flat.
Oh,
right.
Yeah.
And not only are we listening to those tones, but we're really, 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 exaggeratingly conscious of the arrangement, Yep. And in some ways, I feel like a song arrangement, might be the key to everything anyway. But I was just thinking about how a drummer is probably the best guy to become a producer, because we understand all the little bits and pieces, what keeps an audience enraptured. We understand why transitions work, why others don't. Am I on the right track?
Yes. I've been a firm believer in that the drummer almost has to be the best musician in the band.
Yeah.
Like you said, he's got to know he's got to know the cues. He's got to be able to see the musicians. He's got to be able to know the arrangements. He's got to be able to know when someone's sharp or flat, especially if they're singing backgrounds like myself. Yeah. Ever since someone figured out I could sing, I had a mic in front of my kit the whole time, and how hard was it to get used to that and be like, great. I had to open my big mouth. But we have to be aware of all of that. And we have to know the arrangements. We don't have to know when something cuts. We got to be able to transition into those well. Right. We have to be able to just stop and start the song. We have to create the groove, the tempo, the feel, everything we have to do back there to set a foundation. I'm glad we get to sit down and do it, which is nice.
But
true. It doesn't make it any less like lazy or
right
hard.
And we all have awful posture too, because I hunch, man. I've been hunching for 45 years, brother. Yeah. It's just my comfort, man.
Yeah, that's just what it is, And we just grin and bear it back there. But yeah, you have to be on point all the time. You can't be a drunk drummer. You can't play slow. You can't play fast. You can't rush. You can't drag. You can't do any of that. You have to be on point. And it's carried over into drummers that play in the studio that I deal with. When they find out I'm a drummer and I'm going in there and I'm hitting those drums and I'm playing a beat, and they go, "Oh, okay, I have to be on."
Yeah.
This guy's going to be on me if I'm not on. So in any situation, the drummer, I think, has to be the best, if not the best, musician in the band because of all those elements that he has to do. And in some cases, right, has to play the click, has to control the playback, has to do all that, play on time, put on a show.
Yep.
And if you're ready, you got to flip sticks. You got to
carry all that heavy shit everywhere.
Yeah, you have to have a truck, dude. I don't think I've ever had a car in my life.
Van. Yeah.
I'm 42 and I still haven't had a car. The closest I have the car is my stupid toaster.
Yeah.
It still can carry. It's carried an entire drum kit plus merge plus a freaking guitar cabinet. It's like, come on, man. We've always carried gear for everybody. We're giving everybody rides. It's like because we got the car that can carry everything. It's like, it's a lot. We bear the burden of the rest of the band. Let's just say that. I was drumming,
Yeah. Well, that's why it's working, brother. That's why it's working. I'm telling you.
Yeah, and then to fire it off into being a producer, I think like Chris Collier, a drummer. I think he was a drummer first. So he knew how to make drums sound good from the beginning. It's like not only that, but drummers have to, when it transfers over, I think rhythm, phrasing, timing, subdivision, all those things work in tangent with melody, pitch and all that stuff. So being able, like the timing of things, I think it's, when you come from a drummer background, like the background that I do have, which is pretty extensive, you deal with timing, you deal with rushing, dragging, stuff that gets played tight, loose, all that stuff.
Yeah.
So if you come from, somewhere else, I think it takes a little bit longer for someone like that to get there. But it's a little easy for a drummer because timing, all that stuff is already inclusive. Yeah. Timing is the beat. Everyone's hammering on their steering wheel. Everyone's pounding to the beat. They're moving to the groove. If you got a guitar player playing a solo, people are like this.
Yes.
They ain't doing this.
That's true.
They weren't doing this to Eddie Van Halen, you know what I mean?
That's true.
Come on, Mean Street, let's go. I mean, he starts it up. It's like, okay, now I can groove to that.
That's their best song, by the way.
Yes.
I'm glad you said it because that gives you another reason why we're both so cool because that is their best song. Oh my God.
Cool.
I have to ask this question, if I may. And again, this is I almost feel like this is a question that has to come with an NDA, but what is your initial process to working with an artist? How do you connect? Do they call you? Is there some sort of secret society inside of labels and money men who have very short lists? What's the process, man?
Either an email or a text if they happen to get my number from somebody I know.
Nice.
Say, hey, I have an EP and I want you to mix it. Or, hey, my band's looking for a producer. Here, check out our links. And it's the same thing. Since day one that I've done this, it's been pretty much the same. Other than like Lucas getting me some gigs and putting me in contact with people, working with Korn or whatever. Yeah, that stuff kind of like was already in the chain and going. But like with new people coming around, coming out of the woodwork. Like for instance, Mikey Doling. Snot, Soulfly.
Okay,
he's got a new band called Wyote. He approached me because he heard through the grapevine and wanted to get in touch with me and wanted to work with me and see what things were like. And it was as simple as an email.
Yeah,
as simple as a text. It's just like if you're hitting up a girl for the first time. It's like, hey, what'd you do? It's the same thing. It's just communication. It's just really nothing special about it. There's no like secret underground.
Right. There's no qualification, like, you know what I mean? But
yeah, or Nashville clique, as they call it. There's no,
right.
There's that whole like conglomerate of musicians there. It's like you got to know somebody to get into that thing. It's none of that. It's just like they hit you up, they get your number, they get your email, and you go from there. I mean, it's true.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there may not be. I mean, if I may, I'm sorry for interrupting you.
Oh, don't worry.
There may not be a secret society, but there is a secret sauce. There totally is. I mean, maybe it goes back to my point earlier about producers being so important to the process because bands, they have these identities and these ways of thinking, and they write this piece of material and they know how they want it to sound, except they don't know, right? They think they know. And granted, some artists really, really have a confident, inspiring direction, or like Gojira, for example, that has a very clear sound that even as they evolve, they absolutely sound like Gojira. You don't want to get in the way of that, right? But you have an ability to bring your own vibe and to see sort of into that artist psyche. I mean, at least the better producers do. Yeah. You know what I mean? I mean, do you think that's a fair description? Because I mean, my brain says you basically come in and you look at the wheat and you say, I got to burn away the chaff. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's a good way of putting it. It's like, but it's situational as well. Like you got to know your boundaries, know what you can say, what you can't say. I mean, and you just, that comes with the territory. You figure it out along the way. But the more people you work with, you kind of figure out, you can kind of gauge where they're at and what they want to do. And some people just come out straight out and say, hey, we're looking for someone that just really help us. We need all the help we can get. And it's like, cool, I can do this. Let's do this. And then they put their complete trust and faith in you. So, and then there's other bands, like when I sit in the room, like with Korn, when I sit in the room with them and they're just jamming out, you just let them go.
Yeah. Oh, I like that part, right? That sort of thing.
Yeah. And you just, when it's time to be like, oh, that's pretty cool. Hey, why don't you do this? Why don't you move to that note? It's like, you got to pick and choose your battles. But like, say if like, so two sides of that would be, one band comes to me and like I said, they want you to help with everything. And I'm in the middle of that situation right now. I'm working with a bunch of artists. And there's one in particular where I do a lot for the band. Like I'm even adding my own instrumentation. I'm programming all the drums. I'm in charge of arrangements, and I'm helping them shape their sound because they're a new band and they're going to come out with a new record. So it's like they want to reshape the sound. Cool. I'm here to help you do that.
Gotcha.
And then the other side of that coin is, like I said, with Korn or a couple other bands that I've worked with in the past, where it's like, you just let them do their thing because they're seasoned. They know where they want to go. They'll tell you if they want you to get involved. Like that was one of the things with the KXM records. Like with each record, my involvement got a little bit more. And then they would always come to me and say, hey man, you got to interject, man. You got to tell us what we're doing wrong. I'm like, I will.
Yeah.
You guys are doing just fine. I'm not going to sit here and be in.
Right.
Oh, you can't go there. You can't.
Let me show you my production abilities.
Yeah. I don't need to do that. That's not my place. My place, if you hire me for what I do, whatever job you hire me to do, I'm going to do it 150,000% the best I can. And if you want my opinion and you want me to interject, I will. No problem. 100%. Yes. Because I can do it. I can take care of it. If you're not playing a part correctly, give me the guitar. I'll help you out. I'll help you play it. This beat, let's try something else. Let me suggest something else. So you interject when you can, but at first you got to gauge them. You got to see what they're all about. And from the beginning, you usually, tell what's going on. Yeah. Prong's a good example too. Tommy needed someone to write with. He needed someone to help him shape his songs, because at the particular time he wasn't able to get in a jam room and jam with his band and work out the songs like he used to do in the past. So it's like, okay, let's try it with this guy. And 4 records later, here we are. And, I'm helping him write riffs. I'm helping him craft songs, put stuff together, helping him, put a nice product, a nice record, something that, fans really want to hear. And that's just, sometimes you're super involved. Sometimes you're just taking a step back and you're just lending a hand when you can. So
I would fanboy the crap out of Prong, man.
Oh, dude.
Oh, so great.
One of the best dudes, man. One of the best dudes ever.
So great. I love it. One of the questions that I'm curious about, because I didn't know you did this until I did a little research on you, is really the post process, right? Like mastering, right? And I'm curious, do you like to be in the thick of it and of that part? I mean, I don't know if that's standard, if you will, at least in the sense of the production process? Meaning, does the producer sit there from, soup to nuts, nut to butt, whatever you want to call it, or is it just you come in most of the time and you're there either in a songwriting process or in the actual recording process? I don't know why I'm asking this question this way, but I guess what I'm trying to say is what do you like the most? Do you like the creative aspect, or do you like the post aspect where you get to tweak the product and turn it into something legendary?
Well, I hope I don't piss off any people I'm working with right now, but let's put it this way. I really like every part of it.
Cool.
I enjoy every single part of the process. Why? Because I'm not flipping burgers at Burger King. I'm not working construction and picking up trash off the side of the road. Right. No offense to those people. Those are great jobs. A job is a job. Mm-hmm. Okay? Mm-hmm. But doing what you love and then just doing a job, two different things. So, yeah. But I really love to mix and master records. That's just, if I'm to retire, that's what I'm going to do.
Really? Wow.
If I had the choice, if someone said, you want to keep doing all of this, you have the choice. You want to keep doing all of these multitasking things? Or do you want to just do mixing and mastering? Mixing and mastering.
Wow.
I mean,
I bet you I have some gigs for you. You know what I mean?
Awesome. I mean, well, the reason why, I guess the reason why I love it so much is because I'm in my environment. I'm in charge of the final product. There's pressure there, but I like that pressure. And I love just diving deep in putting my own stamp on the picture.
Yeah.
I want to be in charge of the way that your band is presented or your music is presented. I want to be in charge of that. And that's the reason you hire a mixer, is because they're literally going to take your record to another level.
Yeah.
There's times in the past where the record was already there, and then the mixer gets a hold of it and just pushes the faders up, does a couple things, and that's it. And it was already sounding great. But nowadays, you're dealing with electronics, dealing with DIs, programmed drums, you're dealing with all these different elements. So there's a whole bunch of different things going on in the mix master process nowadays. Mm-hmm. And I love that because I have even more influence on the mix because of that. I can choose what snare sound we're going to have. I can choose like the type of amps we're going to use for the guitars. I'm going to, I'm going to do all these different things because there's a level of that happening somewhere. Obviously, some bands don't do that. They give you all the tracks and you mix them as is. Great. Love that too. Love all that as well. But still, it's just having the pressure of putting the final touch on what you're going to present to the world, whether it be for the first time or the 13th time. Doesn't matter. Yeah, I love that. Cool. Yeah. That to me is wow. That's it. Again, I love the process going up to it, but sometimes you get into situations where we become psychologists, we become
babysitters.
It's just like, and I'm not going to name names, but it happens with the big boys too.
Of course. Yeah. We're all crazy. We're all crazy assholes sometimes, man. We just are
crazy enough. Absolutely. 100%. Myself included.
Yeah.
But it's just, and in doing mix notes, whether it be by email or by Zoom now, I was doing the Zoom thing before COVID even hit. I was doing all that remote stuff. I'm like, you don't need to fly me to there. You don't need to fly me to there. You don't need to come to here. Here, download Zoom. Download TeamViewer.
It's crazy, man. COVID has changed everything on top of it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy. It was always, in the last 10 years, 15 years, there's been so many technological advances, all the reamping, everything that's going on in the business. Everybody's running lines into everything anymore. There's no room noise anymore. It's crazy. Yeah. Again, I don't know why I'm really saying this. I didn't want to interrupt your point of view, but I wanted to just chime in. Yeah. It does seem, and I did write this down, it does seem that remixing is your big thing. Because you did the Whitesnake album, Slide It In, right? Yeah. Is that the big epic moment in your career? Did you just go like, I can't believe I'm touching the masters on this and I get to mess with them?
Oh, you don't even know. You have no clue. First of all, you have no clue when you meet David Coverdale for the first time.
Yeah, he's beautiful.
Oh, darling, Christopher. Your work is splendid. I love
Oh my God, that's great.
He's an excited Englishman. I love him to death. He's again another one of the best people I've ever met in my life.
Oh my God.
Most genuine, most down to earth, most coolest people I've ever met. But I'll tell you this, a little side story to that. I told David this, and he said it in interviews.
So you can say it out loud.
Yes.
Okay.
There was a time when my father used to play a bunch of gigs back in the Midwest in his band. And one of those songs he covered in those gigs was Love Ain't No Stranger. That was one of the Whitesnake songs. He would sing and play guitar. He'd do all the guitar and all the singing at the same time, you know. And that stuck out to me when I was a kid because I would listen to his live tapes all the time. They play AC/DC, Judas Priest, all this stuff, you know, Autograph. I mean, everything under the sun. And they played it well. So, but when I was mixing that song and I pulled up the raw tracks, I was just, I got emotional. I'm listening. I put faders up and they already had it roughly put up with no plugins, no effects on it. I just put it up and I listened to the whole song and I'm just like, I was emotional because I was like, wow. I took a picture of the name of the track and I sent it to my dad. And I go, look at what I'm mixing right now.
Oh my God.
My dad back in the 80s was playing that song.
Yeah.
I had no clue what I was going to be. I was a kid. I was like 4 or 5 years old, you know. It's just like, but man, just to be able, that was one of the coolest experiences I've ever had. And just to be able to do that for my dad and say, Dad, look. And then, you know, David doesn't know this, but I sent my dad the song.
He knows it now.
I don't care. That's fine. He would love that. It's out public now. But
yeah, I would actually love it if David listened to my show. So we'd be pretty cool if that was the case.
I'll tell him. He's like, hey, I did an interview. You want to listen to it? I talked all about you. Because like you talk about me in your interviews, I'll talk about you.
No, I love that. That is such a beautiful story too, because I love when you drop tape on, you push up faders, and you hear secrets. There's things hidden. I'm not really close to Jack Endino. I know him. I've hung out with him, but I'm not close. But I went to Avast Studios a few times back in the early 2000s and walked in to the storage room, and there's Soundgarden, Nirvana. I mean, dude, I got goosebumps just saying it just now. It was like all the epic things right in front of me. Big 2-inch reels, none of them falling apart yet. He drops on a Soundgarden mix. I don't remember what it is now. I apologize. But he pushes up the faders and there's all this stuff on the tracks because, of course, you used back then, you used every inch of that 2-inch tape to hide, background vocals or weird guitar solos or ideas, right? Yep. And there were just all these quirks and pops and, weird things on there. Same with Bleach. It was the same thing. Hearing Bleach unedited is bonkers wild. Right. And I just, oh my God, I don't have a question, but just hearing those things has to be the greatest moment in the life. So I understand because I look at your smile and you're so clearly blown away. Like you still can't believe it happened to you, that you got to experience it. And I love that your dad, I'm sorry for talking so much, but I love that your dad got to see a picture of his son in the middle of something beautiful. And it was overwhelming and it connected all the dots, all the pieces, and it let your dad get this total catharsis as well. It's just effing amazing, man. So thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, man. My father's like my hero. So, he was a musician as well, but he never forced it on me. He never did. It was around. It was there.
Is he still alive?
Oh yeah.
Okay, good.
He just turned 69 years old and he looks like he's 40. He looks better than I do. So I hopefully have good genes, to thank for that. But
I think you're going to be around for a long time, man. Joy, happiness, being in your place in life. It's amazing how much longevity you get out of just smiling.
Yeah.
100%,
man. You cannot go through this life and be mad at the world. You can't do it. You're going to die younger.
Yeah.
If being happy and smiling and loving what you do added 10 years to your life, you got to do it. You got to do it. It's not proven, but the less stress you have and that you deal with, I think you're going to live a better life.
Yeah.
Regardless, your mind's going to be better. Everything's just going to be better.
There was a Christian pop synth pop band in the late 80s called Mad at the World, and they went away like that. So there you go.
Bye-bye.
I'm about to ask you the one question I've been a little concerned about asking you, but you said all bets were off. And if you decide you don't want to answer it, that's cool. Edit it out. I don't know if you can answer this at all, especially because of the politics of it. But can you give us a story behind the making of this new Mick Mars album? Again, I know you're sort of in the process of that. But I'd heard through the grapevine that John Corabi was supposed to be a significant part of it, and perhaps I'm misunderstanding, but I was wondering about that relationship and why the record has honestly taken so long. And I could just be stupidly conflating one story or creation with another, but I just wondered if you have anything you can share about it, because I love Mick Mars. I love him so much. I've never met him, but I love what he's about. And you can tell, again, he's just a great, sweet man who's been on the edge of chaos his entire adult life.
You got it exactly right.
Yeah.
Exactly right. I don't want to say too much.
Okay.
But simply because I wasn't told not to say it or sign an NDA or anything, just simply because I want Mick to tell the world.
Gotcha.
I don't, I know what's going on and why that record took so long. But let's just say Mick is the happiest he's ever been with the results right now. So
that's perfect answer, my friend.
This is going to be a pretty good slamming record. A lot of people are going to be surprised. Wow. I don't think a lot of people are going to expect some of the stuff that's on this record. I'll just leave it at that.
Okay, that's
but
good.
But I will add that Mick is such an amazing human being. Him and his wife, the most hospitable people I've ever come around. And it's that other situation we talked about. It's like they're just people, man. They're just Mick is a jokester. He's making jokes. You bastard. It's like he's one of the funniest dudes you ever meet. Is a genuine sweetheart of a man, and we never had a dull moment or a bad moment. It was all amazing time.
Wow.
It was just great to work with such a legend like that and hear those stories, man. Woo-wee.
Wow, that's so awesome. I
asked him about the Dirt movie. I go, was it really like that? He's like, oh, it's worse than that.
Yeah.
I'm like,
well, you've read the book. You read the book, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that book is well titled, my friend. And they left out so much stuff. So much stuff.
Oh yeah.
I actually saw, if you see Mick, please tell him hello. I actually saw a Motley Crue show a number of years back with a fellow who also had ankylosing spondylitis, and Mick was his dream, right? He was like, he would look up on stage. He's like, if that guy can play this kind of music at this age, all these things, and he's still doing it, because he crushes and he looks badass in his ghoul makeup. Like he's the epitome of the coolest, nicest guy, and he's so effing cool. He's so cool.
Yep.
And I've never met him, but my friend Tony just was. He was in tears when Mick came out, because he's like, I can do that. You know what I mean? It was really hugely inspiring. So please tell Mick, this one guy in Seattle, Washington, was moved to tears simply because Mick was on stage.
I would love to tell him that, because you want to tell people like Mick that, because that's, especially with someone sharing the same thing that is going on with him. Yeah. That I think would resonate with him hugely. And it's just, it's sometimes you see him walking around like he's hunched over and he can't turn his neck. He has to move his body. He can't. Right. But you see him like that, you want to feel sorry for him, but man, the dude is 70 years old, and or 71, I forget, in his 70s.
Yeah.
And he's trotting around like he's in his 40s or 50s. He's got the energy. He's got that energy still. It's just like, you can't give up, and you can't. It was as much pain that he still goes through.
Yeah.
To this day, you got to hand it to him. You got to give everything you can to that guy. It's amazing. It's inspiring.
Yeah, it is. And then you look at Doug Pinnick, who just turned 71 the other day, and he's a freaking specimen, man.
Dude, all that weed, man. It's got to do something. He smokes so much weed, but it's amazing. Dude.
Functioning.
Do what you're doing, man. Keep going.
Yeah, high functioning, no less. Yeah, it's amazing. One of the questions I always like to ask, and I've only got a few more here for you, but this is something I think about, especially with you. I can tell you're an overcomer, and maybe you've never thought of this, but very few people in life have something, even the simplest things that are difficult in their life. They can't seem to get past them. And the people that are successful have found a way to sort of be like Teflon, right? Things bounce off of them. Sure, you have the skills. You've been in the right place at the right time. Very few people, honestly, are, in your position in life, and that's an awesome thing. But you have to deal with a lot of personality types. Again, the artist ego, the ideas. You have to help them find new perspectives. And at times you want to put your stamp, or maybe you don't want to put your stamp on the band or the brand, but right, you're dealing constantly. So my question is this: what issues do you have to overcome in your life to get yourself to the place you are? And do you have a daily regimen to keep yourself focused?
I think a lot of that has to do with mindset and goal oriented, like setting a goal. And achieving that goal. I know it sounds generic or whatever, but I spent years, like I told you, I spent years in the dumps. I had no money. I was in a band. I was trying to make it. I lived in, dude, there was a time where I lived in a kitchen.
Yeah, I understand.
I had a roof over my head, but I lived in a kitchen. I had the curtain. That was my privacy. It's like the things you would do for your craft, and just, thank God I had friends around, like, that were supporting me, the girlfriends, friends, whatever, whoever was around. And it's like, I had a lot of support. I had a great support system. I mean, I really did have a great support system in my parents. That was a huge mental thing. But it is mindset and goal setting. You've got to, at one point, like, I was multitasking. I was playing in bands and doing this, playing in bands and doing this. It's like jack of all trades, master of none, that whole thing. Yeah. But it was like, I need focus. I need to figure out how to focus my energy to one thing. And eventually all those things came to head doing this. But it's hard to pinpoint a specific time, but knowing where I came from and how hard it was to get here, and on the struggles and the ups and downs. Oh, I made a lot of money. Oh, I have no money. I don't know how I'm going to pay. I don't know how I'm going to pay the water bill. I can't even give you money. I can't even give you my half because I couldn't get any gigs this month, whatever. Going through all of that, dealing with that mental struggle constantly, strengthened me. Something in me said, something's going to happen. Wow. Something's going to happen. It's just, there's too much. I mean, for the sake of not being modest, I said, there's too much talent in this body to waste and go get a 9-to-5 job.
Yeah, like, there it is.
We got to push it. I've got to push it. I mean, to the point where I regret it in a way, but people were there for me in my time of need, and I can't not thank them enough and appreciate them enough to this day. Yeah. They know who they are. I'm not going to mention anybody, but they know who they are. Yeah. And because those people supported me and believed in me, I'm able to get here. Yeah. And I'm able to focus and do what I do up to this day. In terms of regimen, it's always on my mind. This is always on my mind. You cannot stop thinking about this. Every single day, every single night, I think about this. In the morning when I wake up, before I decide I'm going to wake up and get my shower, I'm watching videos, I'm watching inspirational stuff, whatever inspires me for the day, whether it be a mixing video or, a YouTube video or whatever. I get up, I get ready for the day, I do my work, I go to bed. I'm still watching like tips and tricks on how to get the snare sound this way, this guitar, and this guy's talking about this, that's talking about that.
Yeah.
My mind is always here.
Yeah.
It's a blessing and it's a curse.
Mm-hmm.
The curse part is for my significant other. Who get a lot of my time or has to force the time out of me.
Yeah.
And several people can attest to that, including my closest friends.
Mm.
Like, dude, you're supposed to call me today. I just got a text from one of my best friends. He's like, dude, you're supposed to call me. You never called me. It's like, oh, I'm so engulfed in this that, but it's it speaks for itself. You see the list, you read the list. It's like, this is what it takes, especially in this cutthroat industry. This industry that does not give a shit about you. Well, you're here today, gone tomorrow. No matter what you're doing, whether you're doing what I'm doing, especially with the artists. Holy shit. That's 100% true for the artists. Someone like me, I got to hustle every day. Doesn't matter how much is in my bank account or how little is in my bank account. Doesn't matter what's going on around me. This is the focus. This is the drive. This is the 100%. This is Lady Luck. This is the first thing on my mind when I wake up, when I go to sleep.
I bet you're excited too when you wake up. Like, I'm always excited. I think it's a drummer thing too, but there's an artist. I call it the artist dilemma. We're all basically crazy. We're freaking bonkers nuts. We're nuts. And no wonder nobody wants to marry us or can't stand being married to us because it's just so hard. And we're so desperate to be loved and appreciated and admired. And even though we might, like in your situation where you're having these successes, there's a part of your brain that says, yeah, but what about tomorrow? Oh my God, will I make it? You know what I mean? Am I good enough? Am I magical enough? Who's going to help me next? Do I need help? Yeah.
I need to add that I have to give a big shout out to all my fellow producers, engineers, mixers who have families, who have kids that have to, they have all those responsibilities that they have to deal with every day. Yeah. I don't have kids. I don't have those sort of responsibilities per se, but I have to give you props. I made
it up for you, brother. It's insane.
Exactly. I have to give you all props and mad respect because I can't even imagine where my brain would go if I had to deal with that too. So it's like, I'm very blessed for the choices I made or whatever, that's cool. But I have so much respect for those who can do both. Yeah. Wow. That just takes so much will, mind power, especially with how crazy we are, right? Yeah. So I just want to give a shout out to them. Wow.
Yeah. There's a lot of crazy, that's for sure. If I can, first of all, I have to say this right now before I forget. Dude, we've become friends.
Yes.
You're freaking rad. I mean, I am so stoked right now. I've been sitting here thinking the whole time as I'm asking you questions, like, geez, I like friends, like not just like some nice guy who's on the show. I think we're like gonna hang. It's so cool. Thank you. So thank you.
Sir.
The last question, I'm sure you probably can't tell, but I'm gonna ask anyway. Well, who are some upcoming artists that you're working with, or maybe propose this? Who are some dream artists you'd like to work with? That maybe keep you off the NDA list.
Dream artists I'd like to work with.
Gojira?
Oh, that would be a great one.
Oh my God, they're so good.
Well, can't work with Pantera anymore.
No.
Metallica's an if. I'm not going to go into why, but I've heard some stories. Dream Theater.
Oh, there you go.
Dream Theater was a big one growing up for me. Not only did I learn all the songs I could at the time, I think they only had 3 records out. When Dream and Day Unite, Images and Words, and Awake. Only those 3 albums were out when I was listening to them.
Yeah.
I learned all the drum parts, and I learned all of John Petrucci's rhythm parts.
Really?
Lead parts. Some lead parts I just could never get, and I kind of gave up because I'm not really a lead player. But that band was hugely influential at a crucial time in in my life when I was perfecting my craft and
Awesome.
playing my instruments and working all that stuff. So Dream Theater would probably be a big one. Although they're doing pretty good right now, so it's like, well, to try to get that gig pretty competitive, and I'm not one to go out there and say, hey, this work for me, man. No, it's not about that. No, you just if it falls in your lap, it does.
Yeah, you don't ask. You don't go out and ask.
Nope.
Wow.
If it falls in your lap, it does. If it doesn't, it's not meant to be. You see what happens.
I get you.
Literally how all of this has happened to me. It's just like you just put your work out there and you just do your thing. But I think, Dream Theater is probably the top. It's the only one I can really think of. I mean, you got your Iron Maidens. Like a Whitesnake was what the hell, dude?
Sure.
Like that's a big one too. And I'm already doing that. There's a lot of bands. I mean, Korn was the biggest surprise because I wasn't the hugest Korn fan growing up, but I knew about Korn and their popularity just made me listen to them. So then there's a few choice songs I really, really like, and some albums that I really like of theirs. So, but I think Dream Theater's at the top of the list. That would be Dream Theater and Meshuggah.
Oh my God, Meshuggah. That's a whole nother thing. That's a whole nother thing.
It has to be those two. Dream Theater's got the edge a little bit, but Meshuggah's right there.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. We should talk a lot about this offline. I have some thoughts for you, by the way. I do have to throw this out there real quick before I let you go.
Yeah.
If you love Dream Theater, even Dream Theater thinks this is true, that the next Dream Theater is Rendezvous Point. Have you heard them?
Rendezvous Point? No.
Dude, you as a drummer, first of all, are going to lose your mind. Second, the way the material is progressive gorgeousness. It does all the things, right? Time signatures, but it doesn't blow anything out, right? It's not like, you're driving down the road at on 1716, if that makes sense.
Right.
And the bass is, oh my God, she's just a magical tone monster bass player. She is groovy. But the hidden secret are the fact that their keyboard and the guitar player are both sort of in supporting roles. Neither one of them are solos, but those two things, everything hinges on the sort of bass of the keyboards and the guitar. And again, not in a loud role, but in a supporting role. It's all about the voice. Gearman Hansen's voice has to be the best voice in, I'm not saying in history, it's a little exaggerated, but currently top of the top of the top. And what's the keyboard player for Dream Theater again? All of a sudden,
Jordan Rudess.
Yeah, Jordan online all the time talks about Rendezvous Point as being the band that is taking the crown.
Wow,
I'm friends with Gearman now.
Oh, cool.
So I will connect you guys because holy crap, dude.
Wow, that would be amazing. Yeah, I just pulled them up on Spotify, so I put them in the list so I can remember to listen to them later. Man, cool. It's great. Never heard of them.
It's great. I mean, it's great. So and both albums are fantastic. So anyway, enough of my yakking. Let's boogie.